Is it time to replace your tie rod? Maybe it's bent or broken, or is it just time to upgrade? Well, SuperATV's got you covered with our heavy duty tie rods, and today we're going to show you how to get them installed on this Polaris RZR Trail S 1000. The first thing you're going to do is remove your front wheels and tires. Then we're going to come right down here to where our tie rod bolts on to our knuckle. Get an 18mm socket and remove the nut. So a lot of times your tie rod end will get stuck in the knuckle here. So if yours is stuck, you'll have to take a hammer here, then take another one, give it a hit, and it'll pop that up out of there. Ours is not stuck, which a lot of times on a newer machine they won't be. So you'll just grab it, pick up, remove it. Then we're going to come right up into here. As you can see, you have a clamp. Well, this clamp, you just got to kind of pick this tab up here on the outside. Just take it and kind of pop it apart. As you can see, it comes right apart. It's really easy to get apart. Now what I'm going to do is reach up in here, steer my steering wheel out to where my tie rod comes as far out to our side as possible. We're going to reach up in here, and it's going to be a little bit difficult to see for you all here, but there's a zip tie holding this boot on. I'm going to see if I can rotate it down. I cannot. So you'll just want to take a pair of side cuts, look up in here, find your zip tie, and then just cut it off. Like I said, sometimes they can be a little bit of a pain to see. So there's our zip tie. Like I said, just reach up in there, cut it. Sometimes it can be in a little bit of a weird spot. And just grab your boot, pull it all the way off. We want to expose this inner ball and socket here as much as we can. Kind of slide your boot down your tie rod, get it out of your way. So then I'm going to take a pipe wrench. There's other methods, but this is the one that I found is absolutely the easiest. This pipe wrench grabs a hold of the center ball and socket really tight. So you just want to get on it here, get your pipe wrench tightened up, and just crack it loose. And give it a couple turns. Once you get it kind of loosened up there, you can just grab a hold of the tie rod and spin it out the rest of the way. You're gonna make sure that bushing doesn't come off. You can just slide it back up in there a little bit. And we'll go ahead and grab our new inner ball and socket here. Apply some blue Loctite to the threads, and a good amount, something like that. And there's also gonna be a nut on here. Just go ahead and remove this nut for now. We'll come right up in here. I'm gonna steer my steering wheel back to the opposite side a little bit just to make it easier on me to get my inner ball and socket in, and then I'll probably thread it back out. Make it easier to get the pipe wrench on it. All right, so right there we got it as tight as we can by hand. Run this out. And we're just gonna want to crank this inner ball and socket in there. Like I said, as tight as you can get it. Then we're gonna go ahead and get our boot. The driver's side will take the big boot. Passenger side will take the small boot. So we have the big boot. We just want to make sure that we get it all the way installed. Then I come out here, go ahead and get my zip tie together just a little bit. Slide it down the boot. Try to get it all the way up in there. You want to make sure it's right on the lip of the boot, going to where it ties into the rack. Once it's there, make sure you get it nice and tight. Then we'll just come through our side cuts, cut off the excess of our zip tie. And we'll do the same thing out here for the outer portion. Get it right on this lip. Make sure that this is exposed here, this little notch, because you're going to use that to tighten your jam nuts. Cut off our excess again. And then the nut that we removed off our inner ball and socket, we're just going to go ahead and thread that right back on. We want to thread it all the way up as far as it'll go. You're going to have two sides of your tie rod. You're going to have this side and then a side that's smooth. The smooth side needs to thread on to your inner ball and socket. So going towards the inside. And I like to run my tie rods in about halfway each. So I'll run it all the way, I said about halfway or so. Something like that. And we're gonna grab our tie rod end and we'll go ahead Take our nut out of the kit, run this nut all the way up. Remember, that is left-hand thread. Then we will left-hand thread it into our tie rod. We want to run it up about halfway again. Go ahead and get your steering wheel straight where it's lined up. We can actually see in here, we can see our alignment marks from Polaris. So we're going to kind of go off those, and we're going to grab our tapered stud. And we'll put it right down into the steering knuckle. And we'll grab one of our nylock nuts. We'll thread this right onto the tapered stud until it gets to the nylock. And we'll get our tie rod. Get it lined up. Put our misalignment bushing in. And take our other nut. Then what I'm going to do is grab a 19mm socket and a 19mm wrench. And put our socket on the bottom, wrench on the top. We got our hardware fully tightened. What we want to do is go ahead and get our cotter pins that are provided in the kit as well. Slide them through. I like to just bend them away from themselves, just like this. We'll do the same on the bottom. So like I said, we went ahead and set our steering wheel straight. And what I did was I just kind of adjusted my tie rod to where my rotor's straight. You know what I mean? I mean, we're obviously going to have to come back through, make some toe adjustments. This just makes it easier. It gets a little bit closer for you. So once you have your side looking exactly like ours on the driver's side, we're just going to repeat the same exact steps on the passenger side. Now it's time to reinstall the wheels and tires on both sides and then set the machine back down on the ground. All right, so we got the machine back on the ground. We have Chad in here helping us today. What we're gonna be doing is we're gonna roll this machine back and forth about 5 times to get the suspension settled. One more. All right, there we go. Now after you've rolled your machine out a couple times, you wanna make sure that your steering wheel is good and straight. So Chad's got our steering wheel straight there. Then we're gonna take a measurement from the center line of the tire, and every tire manufactured will have a center line on it. So what we're gonna do is go on the front of the front tires here. We're just gonna take a measurement. So right there, we're at 1305 in the front. We'll do the same thing on the back side of the tire. So right there, we're at 1307. So that's pretty close. We've done this a time or two, so when we set them down, a lot of times they are close. If you need to make any adjustments, the awesome thing about SuperATV's tie rods is that they are double adjustable. So if you do need to make any adjustments, you'll just grab your tie rod here and spin it either way, depending on what you need to do. Another little trick is I like to put a black dot on my inner ball and socket as well as my tie rod. That way I can keep track of how many turns I've made. Once you have it all set, all you're gonna wanna do is go through, fully tighten these jam nuts down on the inner as well as the outer. Just get them good and tight. That's all there is to it to install SuperATV's heavy-duty tie rods on this Polaris RZR 1000S Trail. For more information on these heavy-duty tie rods or any of SuperATV's great products, feel free to give us a call or check us out online. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.